I'm Debbie Davis with 3D Communications, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to find communities that will enhance your social media presence. When you first get started, you sign up to online platforms, and what you want to start doing is listening and monitoring before you get involved in any of the conversations. But before you can listen and monitor, you have to find those conversations and communities that are relevant to your objectives. A good place to do this is on Twitter. And the tool that I'm going to demonstrate today is called WeFollow. It's at www.wefollow.com. You want to, of course, have an account on Twitter, and then you want to have a well-defined objective for why you're using social media, as well as a list of keywords that you'll use to do your research. Start out by going to your browser and typing in www.wefollow.com. and that takes you directly to the site. Now you can add yourself to this directory by entering in a keyword where you want to be found and just clicking on this green Add Yourself to WeFollow and filling out the prompts for it. But you don't need to be part of the directory in order to research it. We're going to use a nonprofit as our example company, and this nonprofit has an objective of being on social media so that they can see how other nonprofits are using social media to promote their causes. I'm using a keyword, nonprofit, and as soon as I start typing it in, I get 5 suggestions for organizations or for keywords that are already in the system. I'll choose the first one because it's the most popular with 4,386 people in it. It gives me a list that's sorted in rank order of most influential. I can also look at this same group ranked according to the number of followers they have, ranked in order. The number of followers that you have does not necessarily mean you're the most influential. And the most influential is determined by the number of tweets that you post, as well as how many times you're retweeted and how many people add you to their own lists or mark you as a favorite. So you'll see that this list is quite long, 4,386 users, and so I can go through every single one of them. I see their Twitter name, as well as a short bio about them, and then the number of followers that they have. I can start going through and reading the bios until something catches my eye. For instance, at position number 5, there's TwitCause. TwitCause helps nonprofits get discovered on Twitter, according to their bio. So that looks like something that I'd like to take a look at. I'm going to hold down the Control key while I click on TwitCause so that I can take a look at their WeFollow page. I look at that and I see that they have 3 keywords that they list themselves under: nonprofit, charity, and causes. This is another good use of this tool because I can gather some relevant keywords that I might want to use in later research. I click on Follow This User, and this allows me to look at their Twitter feed so that I can get a better look at who they are and be sure they are someone to follow. I notice first of all that they have a website right here, and I could quickly hold down Control, click on that, and take a look at their website. That's always a step that I include in this process because I like to see how interactive their website is and how much information is on it. But coming back to their news feed now, I also noticed that they're listed by 2,507 people. That means they're very popular. A lot of people are putting them on special lists, making it easy for them to filter and check the news feeds of TwitCause. So they must be adding a lot of valuable information. I like to take a look at who's listing them and what kind of lists they're being put on. People make their own lists and give them their own names. So for instance, this person made a list called Animal Rights, and they added TwitCause to it. There's another one down here, Eco-Minded, and TwitCause is a member of that list as well. So that gives me a little bit more information about TwitCause and what they do. Now I want to go back to their news feed again and just take a quick glance to see what kind of posts they put up. And sure enough, they always have links, and they seem to mention a lot of people, meaning that they're very active Twitter users, and they involve their communities, and that's what I want. I want somebody who's going to involve me, and they obviously are doing that, because you can see all these mentions when they use that @ sign in front of a person's name. It means they're mentioning them, and that's the kind of participation I would like to have. So I definitely want to follow TwitCause, and therefore I would click on follow. Let's do another demonstration. This time we'll use a medical device company, and their objective for using social media is to see what the competition is doing. So we're going to put in a keyword, radiology, because that's one of their lines of business, and we'll see that 4 suggestions come up. Again, I'm going to choose the first one because it's the most popular. Right off the bat, I do see that CareStream is listed, and CareStream is definitely one of the competitors. So I'll take a look at CareStream's WeFollow page, and I see that they list radiology, healthcare IT, and imaging as 3 of their keywords. I'll definitely add those to my list for research later on. Then I'll check their Follow This User button, taking me directly to their Twitter newsfeed. I can see that they're listed on 56 lists, so I would again go to their list of people who have put them on lists and see what kind of list they're on. For instance, they're on a sonography and ultrasound list. They're also listed on a PACS companies list by Novarad Corporation, which is another one of the competitors. So this is kind of a floodgate to more resources that I can look into, and it's a great way to get started at looking for competitors who are using Twitter, and I can start following them and start listening in on the conversations. And this is a perfectly acceptable practice, by the way. Then I'll go back to their tweets and take a look at the kind of tweets they have. If I want to follow them, then I simply click on follow. And then one more example. Say I'm a toy maker, and I want to listen in on the types of customers and find out what they talk about as far as toys for their children. So I'm going to choose a keyword like mommy, because mommies talk about their children, and I see that there are 776 people in this directory who have listed themselves in this category. So that could be a very rich directory for me, and I would probably find a lot of conversations and communities there that I would want to be a part of. Another keyword that I might use is grandparent, and sure enough, there are 12 people who've added themselves to the grandparent directory. So I take a look to see what kind of people are on there, and I see that there are individuals. I see there's one Grandparents Com organization, and that looks like something that I might want to look at, because their bio says grandparents.com, things to do with your grandkids, plus advice and gifts. And of course, being a toy maker, I would like to know what they're saying about gifts, and maybe I can get involved in a conversation and help people become aware of the kind of gifts that I offer. So I take a look at their WeFollow page by clicking on their name, and I held down Control while I clicked, so it opened up in a separate tab. I move over to that tab, and I look at their WeFollow page and see their keywords, grandmother, grandma, and grandparent. I click on them, Follow This User, and I see they too are listed on 79 different lists. So I would check their lists, and I would check the kind of people who are putting them on lists, and I would check to see what kind of list they're being put on. Children's health, mother-child, grandparents, lists that I would probably want to be checking out, as well as the people who made the list, to see why they're interested in those kinds of things, because those are definitely the communities that I would want to be involved in. I go back to their Twitter list, and I look at their news feed to see what kind of news they post. And again, they also post a lot of links, which is a good sign. You always want to be following somebody who's going to be offering you some interesting content. So that's the way that you can use WeFollow to find the communities that you're interested in, and build up networks that are going to benefit your objective. Again, this is Debbie Davis with 3D Communications, and you can find me at www.debbiedavisdriven.com.